In the vast, uncharted expanse of space, where silence reigns supreme and stars twinkle like distant whispers, humanity's greatest adventure begins. A signal, mysterious, deliberate, and undeniably intelligent, rips through the void, shattering our understanding of the universe. Who sent it? What does it mean? And why now? As Earth's bravest embark on a perilous journey to uncover the truth, they find themselves face to face with an alien intelligence that defies comprehension. But what starts as a mission of discovery quickly spirals into something far more profound and dangerous. Will they survive long enough to make contact, or will their curiosity lead them to destruction? Prepare for a journey beyond imagination, where every answer raises 10 more questions. Subscribe now for the ultimate sci-fi experience. The year was 2147, and humanity had grown complacent in its exploration of the cosmos. Space travel had become routine. Colonies dotted the solar system. And yet, despite all these advancements, one question lingered unanswered. Are we alone? It wasn't until the Deep Space Probe, Aegis 9, detected an anomaly, a repeating pattern of pulses emanating from a distant star system, that this age-old query took on new urgency. At first, scientists dismissed it as cosmic noise, but further analysis revealed something extraordinary: structure, patterns within patterns, mathematical precision, and even hints of language embedded within the transmission. This was no random occurrence. This was communication. News spread like wildfire across Earth, igniting debates among governments, scientists, and philosophers alike. Was this humanity's first brush with extraterrestrial life? Or was it a trap laid by some unknown predator lurking in the dark corners of the galaxy? Whatever the case, there could be no turning back. Plans were hastily drawn up, resources pooled, and a crew assembled for what would become the most ambitious mission in human history. The implications of the signal were staggering. If it truly came from an alien civilization, then humanity was not alone. But what kind of beings had sent it? Were they benevolent explorers eager to share knowledge, or conquerors seeking to dominate weaker species? These questions haunted the minds of those tasked with interpreting the signal. Every second counted. Time was of the essence, as the source of the transmission lay light years away. Humanity's response would need to be swift, precise, and bold if they hoped to establish contact before the signal faded, or worse, before another race intercepted it. The vessel chosen for this unprecedented expedition was the Odyssey Dash, a sleek marvel of engineering designed specifically for deep space exploration. Its hull gleamed under the artificial lights of the launch bay, a testament to humanity's ingenuity. Inside, the crew prepared for departure, each member handpicked not only for their expertise, but also for their resilience. Captain Elias Voss stood at the helm, his weathered face betraying years spent navigating the dangers of space. Beside him was Dr. Amara Lin, the xenobiologist whose fascination with alien ecosystems bordered on obsession. Then came Lieutenant Dax Rourke, the stoic pilot whose steady hands had guided countless missions through asteroid fields and radiation storms. Rounding out the team were engineer Tariq Nasser, whose mechanical genius kept ships running against all odds, and communications specialist Zara Quinn, whose uncanny ability to decode complex signals made her indispensable. Together, they represented the best of humanity, united by a shared purpose. Yet none of them truly understood the magnitude of what awaited them. As the countdown began, tension crackled in the air. They knew the risks. Failure meant not just death, but potentially the end of humanity's dreams of cosmic connection. Still, they pressed forward, driven by hope and curiosity. Each crew member brought their own motivations to the mission. For Captain Voss, it was a chance to leave a legacy, to prove that humanity could rise above its flaws. Dr. Lin saw it as an opportunity to validate decades of research into extraterrestrial life. Lieutenant Rourke simply wanted to test his skills against the ultimate challenge, while Tariq dreamed of reverse engineering alien technology. Zara, however, remained enigmatic, her reasons known only to herself. Her calm demeanor masked a fierce determination, and her colleagues often wondered what drove her so relentlessly. Despite their differences, they shared a common goal: to uncover the truth behind the signal and establish contact with whatever, or whoever, had sent it. The launch was flawless, the roar of engines fading into the silence of space as the Odyssey pierced the atmosphere. For weeks, the journey unfolded without incident, the monotony broken only by routine maintenance checks and briefings on the mysterious signal. The source lay in the Proxima Centauri system, light years away, and the ship's quantum drive ensured they would arrive in mere months instead of centuries. But as they approached their destination, unease settled over the crew. The signal grew stronger, its rhythm hypnotic, almost alive. It seemed to pulse in sync with their own heartbeats, creating an eerie sense of connection. Dr. Lin spent hours poring over the data, searching for meaning in the patterns. She theorized that the message contained instructions, a map leading to the sender, but translating it proved maddeningly difficult. Meanwhile, Captain Voss wrestled with doubts. What if this was a lure? What if they were walking blindly into danger? These thoughts gnawed at him, but he pushed them aside. There was no turning back now. The closer they got, the more the signal dominated their thoughts, consuming them entirely. It was as though it wanted something from them, though what remained unclear. As the days turned into weeks, the crew began to notice subtle changes in their behavior. Conversations became shorter, more guarded. Sleep eluded them, replaced by restless nights filled with vivid dreams. Some attributed it to stress, others to the isolation of deep space. But Zara suspected something else. The signal, she believed, was affecting them on a subconscious level, rewiring their minds in ways they couldn't yet comprehend. Her theory went unspoken, buried beneath layers of doubt and denial. Yet the evidence mounted. Equipment malfunctioned inexplicably. Tempers flared over minor disagreements. Even the ship's AI, normally reliable, began exhibiting glitches. By the time they reached the Proxima Centauri system, the crew was fraying at the edges, held together only by sheer willpower. When the Odyssey finally entered the Proxima Centauri system, the crew was greeted by a sight both beautiful and unsettling. A massive ring-like structure orbited a barren moon, its surface shimmering with iridescent hues. It dwarfed anything humanity had ever constructed, its sheer scale defying belief. Sensors indicated it was artificial, though its composition baffled even Tarek's advanced instruments. The signal emanated directly from the structure, growing louder and more insistent with each passing moment. Captain Voss ordered caution, directing the ship to maintain a safe distance while they gathered more information. But the structure seemed to respond to their presence. Lights flickered along its edges, pulsing in time with the signal. It felt alive, watching them, waiting. Dr. Lin hypothesized that it might be some kind of gateway or relay station, perhaps intended to guide visitors inward. Yet the implications terrified her. If this was indeed a construct of alien design, then who, or what, had built it? And what did they want with humanity? Despite their trepidation, the crew couldn't resist the pull of discovery. Slowly, carefully, they maneuvered the Odyssey closer, ready to uncover the secrets hidden within. As they drew nearer, the structure revealed intricate carvings etched into its surface. Swirling patterns danced across its exterior, shifting when viewed from different angles. Some resembled equations, others abstract art, and still others bore an uncanny resemblance to organic forms. The crew debated whether these markings were decorative or functional, perhaps part of the mechanism controlling the structure. Tarek suggested scanning for weak points, hoping to find an entryway. His scans revealed nothing definitive, but the signal grew stronger, almost deafening. It was as though the structure itself was calling to them, urging them to come closer. Against their better judgment, they obeyed. As the ship drew nearer, the structure revealed itself in greater detail. Intricate carvings covered its surface, swirling patterns that seemed to shift when viewed from different angles. Some resembled equations, others abstract art, and still others bore an uncanny resemblance to organic forms. Zara worked tirelessly to decipher the symbols, her fingers flying over the console as she cross-referenced databases and algorithms. The breakthrough came unexpectedly. A sequence of tones emitted by the structure matched a fragment of the original signal. When played back in reverse, it formed a coherent response, a greeting, perhaps, or a challenge. The crew debated whether to reply, weighing the potential consequences. In the end, curiosity won out. Using the ship's communication array, they transmitted a simple mathematical progression followed by a recording of Earth's natural sounds. The response was immediate. The structure lit up in dazzling colors, and a beam of light shot out, enveloping the Odyssey dash. For a moment, everything went silent. Then, voices not human, but intelligible, filled the cabin. Words formed in their minds, bypassing language barriers entirely. "Welcome," they said. "You have been expected." The realization hit the crew like a tidal wave. They weren't the first to receive the signal. Others had come before them, perhaps many others. The implications were staggering. Had those earlier travelers succeeded in making contact? Or had they failed, their fate sealed by forces beyond comprehension? Captain Voss steadied himself, trying to process the enormity of what had just occurred. The voices continued, explaining that the structure served as a gateway, a portal to a realm beyond human understanding. To pass through, they would need to demonstrate their readiness. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. What test awaited them on the other side? And were they prepared to face them? The beam of light dissipated, leaving the crew disoriented but unharmed. Outside the viewport, the ring-like structure had transformed. Its center glowed with an otherworldly energy, swirling like a miniature galaxy. Without warning, the Odyssey lurched forward, pulled inexorably toward the glowing portal. Alarms blared as the ship crossed the threshold, plunging into a kaleidoscope of colors and sensations. Time seemed to stretch and compress simultaneously, and the crew experienced visions, fragmented images of alien landscapes, strange creatures, and civilizations long extinct. When they emerged on the other side, they found themselves in an entirely new star system. Planets unlike any they'd seen before orbited a binary star, their surfaces painted in vibrant hues. Most striking, however, was the colossal sphere suspended in orbit around the larger planet. It dwarfed even the ring structure, its surface smooth and reflective, like a giant mirror. The signal originated here, stronger than ever. Whatever awaited them inside, it was clear this was no ordinary encounter. With trembling hands, Captain Voss set a course for the sphere, knowing full well that nothing could prepare them for what lay ahead. As they approached, the sphere's surface shimmered, revealing faint outlines of structures beneath its reflective exterior. Dr. Lin speculated that the sphere might be some kind of habitat, perhaps housing the civilization responsible for the signal. Tarek ran diagnostics, attempting to determine whether the sphere posed any immediate threat. His instruments detected no weapon systems, but the sheer size of the construct made it impossible to rule out hidden dangers. Zara, meanwhile, focused on deciphering additional signals emanating from the sphere. These were subtler, layered within the primary transmission, and hinted at a complex language far beyond human comprehension. The crew's unease grew palpable as they drew closer. The sphere loomed larger with each passing moment, its surface reflecting their tiny ship like a speck of dust. Yet there was something oddly inviting about it, as though it welcomed them despite its overwhelming scale. Captain Voss gave the order to dock, choosing a section of the sphere where the surface appeared to ripple, creating an opening just wide enough for the Odyssey dash. As they entered, the interior lit up, revealing a labyrinthine network of corridors and chambers. The air hummed with energy, vibrating through the soles of their boots as they stepped onto a floating platform. Here, the voices returned, clearer now, guiding them deeper into the structure. Inside the sphere, the architecture defied logic. Walls curved impossibly upward, creating domed chambers that stretched beyond the limits of human perception. Floating platforms hovered at various levels, each adorned with intricate designs reminiscent of those on the ring structure. The air hummed with energy, vibrating through the soles of their boots as they stepped onto the nearest platform. Here, the voices returned, clearer now, guiding them deeper into the labyrinthine structure. Every step felt deliberate, as though they were being led along a predetermined path. Dr. Lin marveled at the architecture, noting how seamlessly technology and biology appeared to coexist. Organic tendrils intertwined with metallic struts, pulsing faintly with bioluminescent light. Whatever civilization had created this place, it was unlike anything humanity had ever encountered. As they ventured further, the sense of anticipation grew palpable. Something or someone was watching them. Tarek examined the organic components, his mind racing with possibilities. Could these structures be alive? If so, what did that mean for their mission? He hypothesized that the sphere might function as a living organism, its consciousness distributed across its vast expanse. Zara remained silent, her focus fixed on the patterns of light dancing across the walls. She sensed a rhythm, a cadence that seemed almost musical. Was it a form of communication, or merely an aesthetic choice? Lieutenant Rourke kept a wary eye on their surroundings, his hand resting on the hilt of his weapon. Though he trusted the crew's judgment, he couldn't shake the feeling that they were being observed, not by machines or passive sensors, but by something intelligent and aware. Captain Voss shared his unease but pressed onward, driven by the need to understand. They had come too far to turn back now. At the heart of the sphere lay a vast chamber filled with crystalline structures that towered like trees in a forest. Each crystal pulsed with light, casting shifting patterns across the floor. In the center stood a figure, or rather, multiple figures fused together into a singular entity. Their forms were fluid, constantly shifting between humanoid shapes and amorphous blobs. Eyes, or what passed for eyes, glowed softly, observing the intruders with an intelligence that transcended words. Through mental projections, they introduced themselves as the Keepers, ancient beings tasked with preserving knowledge across galaxies. They explained that the signal had been a test, designed to gauge humanity's readiness for contact. The fact that the crew had reached this point spoke volumes about their species' potential. But the Keepers warned of challenges ahead. Humanity stood on the precipice of greatness, but also of self-destruction. Would they rise to meet the demands of interstellar citizenship, or succumb to their baser instincts? The weight of these questions hung heavy in the air, forcing the crew to confront uncomfortable truths about their own nature. Dr. Lin listened intently, her mind racing with implications. The Keepers' presence suggested that they were custodians of a universal order, guardians of wisdom accumulated over eons. Yet their warnings carried an implicit threat. Failure to evolve could result in annihilation. Captain Voss felt the burden of responsibility pressing down on him. If humanity failed, it would not just be Earth that suffered. The entire cosmos might bear the consequences. To prove their worthiness, the crew underwent a series of trials devised by the Keepers. These weren't physical tests, but mental and emotional challenges designed to push them to their limits. One trial placed them in simulated environments where they faced their deepest fears and insecurities. Another forced them to work together to solve puzzles that required empathy and cooperation rather than brute force. Throughout these ordeals, the Keepers observed silently, noting every triumph and failure. Captain Voss struggled with guilt over past decisions, while Dr. Lin grappled with her fear of inadequacy. Lieutenant Rourke confronted his distrust of authority, and Tarek faced memories of loss that still haunted him. Only Zara seemed unfazed, her calm demeanor masking inner turmoil. By the end, they emerged changed, scarred but stronger, their bonds forged anew through shared adversity. The Keepers acknowledged their growth, granting them access to the next phase of their journey. But the true test was yet to come. Within the depths of the sphere, the crew discovered a repository of knowledge spanning millennia. Holographic displays depicted the rise and fall of countless civilizations, their achievements and mistakes chronicled in excruciating detail. Among them, humanity's story unfolded, a fragile race clinging to survival amidst chaos and conflict. The Keepers revealed that Earth was not unique. Many planets harbored intelligent life, but few survived long enough to reach the stars. Those that did often destroyed themselves, unable to overcome greed, hatred, and ignorance. The signal had been a beacon, calling out to those capable of change. Now, it fell to humanity to decide its fate. The revelation struck the crew like a thunderbolt. They realized that this mission was more than just scientific curiosity. It was a chance to rewrite their destiny. The burden of responsibility weighed heavily on their shoulders, but it also filled them with determination. They vowed to return home and share what they had learned, hoping to inspire others to strive for something greater. Leaving the sphere behind was bittersweet. Though eager to share their discoveries, the crew couldn't shake the feeling of leaving part of themselves within its walls. The journey back to Earth stretched endlessly, the excitement tempered by exhaustion. Each member processed the experience differently. Captain Voss reflected on leadership and sacrifice, while Dr. Lin pondered the ethical implications of introducing alien knowledge to humanity. Lieutenant Rourke found solace in piloting, using the familiar rhythms of flight to steady his mind. Tarek tinkered endlessly with the ship's systems, channeling his emotions into work. Zara, ever the enigma, withdrew into herself, replaying the Keeper's words over and over. As they approached Sol, the reality of their mission hit home. How would humanity react? Would they embrace the lessons offered or reject them outright? The uncertainty loomed large, but the crew clung to hope. They had seen the best and worst of existence, and they believed humanity could rise above its flaws. The Odyssey's arrival sparked global pandemonium. News outlets broadcast live coverage as the ship descended through Earth's atmosphere, millions watching with bated breath. Governments scrambled to contain the situation, fearing mass panic or unrest. Scientists clamored for access to the data, while religious leaders debated the implications of alien contact. Amidst the chaos, the crew stood united, presenting their findings with quiet dignity. They described the keepers, the trials, and the repository of knowledge, emphasizing the urgent need for unity and progress. Some listened, inspired by the possibilities. Others dismissed the account as fabrication or conspiracy. Conflicts erupted worldwide, old divisions resurfacing as people grappled with the enormity of the revelation. Yet amidst the discord, seeds of change began to sprout. Grassroots movements advocated for peace, education, and environmental stewardship. Leaders called for international cooperation, recognizing the futility of petty rivalries in the face of cosmic significance. The road ahead promised to be fraught with challenges, but the spark of hope burned brightly. Years passed, and the impact of the Odyssey's mission rippled outward. Technological advancements accelerated, fueled by insights gleaned from the alien repository. Renewable energy sources replaced fossil fuels, curing Earth's environmental woes. Medicine leapt forward, eradicating diseases once thought incurable. Education became universal, fostering a generation of thinkers and dreamers. Yet the philosophical shifts proved even more profound. Humanity began to see itself not as separate nations or tribes, but as a single species sharing a fragile blue dot in the vastness of space. Memorials were erected to honor the crew, their names etched into history alongside explorers like Magellan and Armstrong. Schools taught their story, instilling values of curiosity, courage, and compassion. Artists immortalized their journey in paintings, songs, and films, capturing the awe and wonder of first contact. Though the keepers never returned, their influence endured, shaping humanity's future in ways unimaginable. The stars no longer seemed distant and cold, they beckoned, promising untold adventures. By the dawn of the 23rd century, humanity stood poised on the brink of a golden age. Colonies thrived on Mars and Europa, supported by technologies derived from alien principles. Interstellar probes ventured farther than ever before, seeking signs of other civilizations. Back on Earth, cities gleamed with clean energy and sustainable design, proof of a society committed to harmony with nature. The lessons of the keepers had taken root, transforming humanity from a fragmented species into a unified force. But the journey was far from over. Questions lingered. Were the keepers truly benevolent, or had they manipulated events for their own purposes? Did other races exist, equally advanced or superior to humanity? And what role did Earth play in the grand tapestry of the cosmos? These mysteries fueled continued exploration, driving humanity ever onward. The spirit of discovery burned brighter than ever, fueled by the memory of those who dared to seek answers among the stars. As the sun set on another day, children gazed skyward, dreaming of journeys beyond the horizon. Their imaginations soared, fueled by tales of the Odyssey and the wonders it uncovered. Somewhere among those twinkling lights, the keepers watched, patient and wise. They knew humanity's path would be fraught with trials, but they also saw its potential for greatness. The signal that once called out into the void had been answered, sparking a chain reaction of growth and transformation. Now, humanity carried the torch, passing it from generation to generation. The universe remained vast and unknowable, but no longer did it seem hostile or indifferent. Instead, it brimmed with possibility, waiting to be explored. And so, with hearts full of hope and minds open to the infinite, humanity stepped boldly into the future, ready to write the next chapter of its cosmic saga. Don't miss this epic tale. Subscribe now for more thrilling adventures.